Welcome. I believe this is episode 7. Oh my goodness, 7 guys and ladies. This is the Gun Show with Mama Bear Defense. I'm Shauna Martinez, and we are here with
Michelle.
And Carrie.
Michelle is our other trainer. She's out of Northern California, and we have Carrie here with concealed carry.
License to carry.
License to carry. I apologize. And welcome, ladies, because obviously we normally have Crystal, but she's off at this moment, but she should be joining us later through this show. And so, Carrie, let's jump in. Tell us a little about yourself. Tell us a little bit about how did you start your business, as in what you have going on.
Okay, sure. I'm happy to be here. My name is Carrie, and my company is Licensed to Carry, KARI.com. And it is very unusual how I ended up where I am today as a firearms instructor. I didn't start shooting till about 3 years ago. Never had any interest whatsoever. And I was a music teacher. I have a master's of music education and piano. And my husband and I became part owners of a gun range in San Antonio, Buck and Doe's Mercantile. And so I was kind of working in the boutique area, and I thought one day, hey, let's take a lesson. Let's check it out, see what it's all about. And I hadn't even seen the gun range for 4 months after we opened. So I went in there, I took a lesson, and I was like, wow, this is fun. And I'm actually really good. Well, pretty good, I thought. And so I just kind of went from there, and I went ahead and decided that, I love teaching. That's what I've done for the last 20-something years, is taught music education and piano lessons. And so I decided this would be another venue for me to instruct, a much different venue, mind, obviously, but I went and got the certifications. I became an NRA pistol instructor. I'm an NRA rifle instructor, a United States Concealed Carry Association instructor. I'm certified with the Department of Public Safety as a licensed to carry instructor, and various other certifications. But just kind of went with it and wanted to get all of the knowledge that I could to equip my students with all the knowledge that they need in order to operate and handle a firearm in a safe manner. So that's kind of how it all started, and it's just been going from there.
Wow, that is a short roller coaster you had going there for a while. Just
Yes.
within 3 years, my gosh, that's incredible. So, what was your outlook on firearms prior to all this?
Really, just kind of indifferent. Not really anything particular. I wasn't against them. I wasn't necessarily a gun person. Just had never shot, and so just kind of went from there. But yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster.
Did you ever imagine anything like this to ever come across your path of jumping in or stepping into something like this?
No, I never. In fact, I was telling my husband yesterday, I was like, who would have thought 3 years ago or 10 years ago when we were, in a different place, that someday, Carrie, you're going to be a firearm instructor? I would have been like, that is crazy. There's no way. But it did happen. And I think that everything happens for a reason. We are led down a path that we make choices. And like I was telling some people earlier about, the correlation, we talked a little bit about piano and shooting. There's a lot of different correlations between the two. And I think that is what has allowed me to be pretty good at shooting because of the background in piano. For instance, you have the eye-hand coordination that's necessary. You have the dexterity issue with your hands. There is also kind of a cadence when you're shooting. It's bang, bang. Mm-hmm. You want to have kind of a cadence to it, and again, that's with music. There's a cadence to music. So I think all of those things have kind of come together, and it's just presented me with the opportunity and the ability, and so it's really crazy how things turn out and what you would never expect. But I love what I do, and I love teaching other people.
The teaching part is so incredible, to be able to see the smiles and the confidence that has built from just the courses alone, and then how you're bringing up the difference of being able to take the piano part and use it towards how you're doing the firearms. That is awesome. That is neat. I never thought of it that way. Obviously, I don't play the piano. I played with it, but I don't play it. And I know there's a big difference between the two.
I love
Yeah,
that you
and-
said
yeah, go ahead.
cadence too, because I talked about that, and I think in our last meeting too, huh, Shauna? And
Yeah.
that's something I bring up in a lot of my classes is just that kind of rhythm for your shooting and piecing together your breathing, piecing together your trigger control, and getting that nice rhythm. So that I had wondered, I meant to ask you about that when we got into the interview about how in the world does piano playing have anything to do with guns, but that explains it.
Yeah, and I think you know, performing, doing piano recitals creates an element of anxiety, whereas same thing with shooting. You know, I'm getting into IDPA now and things like that, and I take so many different challenging courses like Tom Gibbons. I'm a range master instructor as well, and those are very stressful classes, but you know, definitely get you out of your comfort zone. So I think that that has also helped us. The performance anxiety of dealing with that in piano has translated over to learning to control that performance anxiety in shooting.
I mean, I did cheerleading for a long time.
Woo-hoo.
So I can get that idea of like, okay, there's that kind of quiet before the storm, and then the music comes on, and you better remember your game plan.
Memorization, right? You have to memorize and remember everything.
To like get past your feelings and just get the job done. So IDPA is fun. I do USPSA shooting, so
I haven't tried that yet.
yeah, I'm hoping to get into IDPA soon, but you'll have fun with that for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think
Would you recommend, or how would you, when you have women or other young ladies come across, even guys, I can even see at the point that is in the position that you were, as a never been around firearms or never shot a firearm, and they find out that you are a master at playing the piano or teaching music, I should say, because that's an art of its own. To come out and find out that now you're handling firearms, like what is the like what is the outcome of speaking to these folks?
Well, I don't usually, you know, tell everybody, hey, guess what? I've only been shooting for this long, and I'm, you know, I don't make that announcement in my classes. If somebody asks me, how did this happen, or how did you arrive in this place, I will answer it. But I certainly don't just go out there and, well, obviously I'm telling everybody now, but, you know, I don't say, hey, guys, guess what? You know, I'm just, if it comes up, and usually they're very like, wow, that's great. You know, I don't know what's going on in their head. They're thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? But they seem to take it really well and think it's cool. So
That's nice. Do they sometimes engage into where they want further information to try to get some courses or to sign up for some classes with you?
oh yeah, I get people interested all the time, especially now. People are so gung-ho and interested about learning, which is great, right? Because, you know, we have all these people that are going to get their license to carry and lining up in lines to get their license to carry license, but they have no training. So, you know, that's the scary thing is 1% of license to carry holders continue training. So then we have all these people out there carrying guns, but I certainly don't want to be around them if they have to use their gun. You know, it's just the training aspect. People don't want to do it.
They're not going to help anybody, and that's something I emphasize in my class. If you guys think that carrying a gun is going to save your life, it won't. Training with your gun will save your life. And I've definitely been in the position just getting my concealed carry where the person next to me, and unfortunately most often it's a female, is just very unsafe handling, and you can tell that they don't know their firearm, they don't have any of the basic fundamental skills. And part of me is like, I'm happy that you're exercising your right to carry a gun. The other part of me is like, I'm absolutely terrified that you're going to be carrying a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you said you're within San Antonio.
Yes.
Correct. So now license to carry, that is what's can you give me, like, tell me more about it?
Yeah, so license to carry is a website. It's license2carry.com. It's with the number 2 and then my name, Kari. But I work in the range that I was telling you earlier that my husband and I are part owners of, Buck and Doe's. So Buck and Doe's Mercantile is its own entity, its own gun range. And I, as licensed to carry, work within that gun range and teach most of the, a lot of the classes there. And so that's just, and I have my own business as well, where I do private license to carry classes or private training, that kind of thing too. But yeah, pretty much just work with Buck and Doe's.
Okay.
So how does it work where you're at? So California, for example, we're county by county for concealed carry. San Antonio, I mean, can you kind of explain the process? Like, do you have to get a concealed carry permit? Are you allowed to open carry?
So in Texas, we passed House Bill 910 back in 2016, which allows Texas licensed holders to carry openly. So nobody's required, of course, to get a license, but in Texas, you can have a gun in your car, you can have a gun in your place of business, your home, and you can go to and from those places without having a license. It's just you're getting a license so that you can carry a gun on your person in public.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I know in some places, I'm not sure if it's, I'm not sure what state it is, but I've heard that when you can have it open carry, but you can't have it concealed carry without a license. So if you want to have it in your purse or under your shirt, then you actually have to have a license to place it there. Mm-hmm. If not, you have to make sure it's completely visible. As in we see an officer walking around with their, firearm next to them. Mm-hmm. So now, I'm sorry?
I said we can open carry. You just don't see very many people open carrying because, again, you don't want to draw that attention to yourself. You don't want, if you're involved in a mass shooting, who are they going to take out first? There are people, well, I'm going to take them out. They've obviously got a gun on them. So, you do want to keep it concealed. I open carry when I'm working at Buck and Doe's. But other than that, it stays concealed.
Oh, there's certain places that you definitely open carry. When I'm at the gun shop here, yeah, I want everybody to know I have a gun on my hip. When I'm out grocery shopping with my kids, no.
Yeah, right.
It's nice. I mean, it's nice in Texas that the whole state's like that, but in California, it's nice that it's by county because we would be screwed otherwise. So,
yeah.
So what's your opinion in your classes, Carrie, on what have you heard, why women don't conceal carry? What's some of the biggest reasons why?
I think some of the biggest reasons are, one, that they don't feel unsafe. They are like, you know what? I live in a nice neighborhood. I don't go anywhere sketchy. What reason would I have? The other would be that their husband carries, or their husband's going to take care of them to some capacity. So they don't see a reason to carry for that reason either.
Yeah, that seems to be something I'm starting to experience with some ladies that are starting to come out to learn to shoot. I had one that she was a senior of an older age, lost her husband, and she had that comfort feeling that my husband's alive, he'll take care of me, but now he's gone, and now she's like, I gotta learn how to do this. He's not here anymore.
And I get a lot of women that are widows in my classes because, their husband had all these guns and they don't know what to do with them, and they realize that it is up to them. And I tell the women that expect their husbands to defend them, what if your husband gets injured or hurt or he's gone, and now what are you going to do? I mean, you have to take ownership because you don't get to choose when you're the victim. You don't get to choose that. The perpetrator gets to choose that. And it doesn't matter if you live in the nicest neighborhood, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, period. And so it's just that women have, over centuries, when we've grown up with knowing that or thinking that women are always passive, right? That they are passive and we should never do anything to hurt someone else. And that they feel like they could never harm another person because they just have that mentality. But you have to ask women to think about, what are they willing to defend? Who are they willing to defend? Would they be willing to defend their child if their child was being taken? Would they fight tooth and nail to take control of the situation and to get the child? Yes, of course they would. But women deserve that for themselves as well. They don't realize that if they are gone, if someone hurts or injures them or kills them, they no longer will be able to be a mom to those kids, and those kids are going to be at a loss. So they owe it to themselves and the ones that they love and who love them to be responsible for themselves at all times.
Yeah, that's a great
Love
point
answer.
to bring across.
I love that answer. I hear that a lot too, is that, well, I mean, I don't have kids because, you know, we're a mama bear defense. So I think a lot of men and women, well, I don't have kids or I'm a male. It doesn't matter. Life is life. And it's, your life is always worth protecting, whether or not you have kids, whether or not you're married, whether or not you're a male, whether or not whatever. If you're alive, it's because God wanted you to be here. And so you need to protect that. I think one of the biggest things I hear in my classes is they just don't feel like it's safe. Maybe they don't understand how firearms work, or they, I think that's the biggest one. They don't know how firearms work. And so I think that they're intimidated to have a firearm on them because they have this idea in their head that it's just going to go off for no reason. So I think having these women in classes, especially in these intro classes or these fundamentals classes where we go over, this is how a gun works. It won't just randomly explode in your purse or randomly explode in the holster on your hip. And my favorite saying is just removing fear through education. So when it's, and my analogy is driving a car. Everybody's terrified to drive a car until you learn how to drive a car. Everybody's terrified of firearms until, like Carrie, you get in and you fire it and you're like, damn, this is fun. And I didn't die. This is fun. So I think that's something that I hear a lot in my classes, because I get a lot of moms, I get a lot of younger people, and I have a lot of kids, straight kids in my class. So just the idea that they don't know how a gun works and they don't know how to use it, so they just don't want to shoot themselves with it.
Well, and it's developing that knowledge, and the main thing is confidence, right? You have to be confident, and you have to be confident in your ability to not only operate the handgun, but to draw the handgun from whatever method of holster you're choosing. So, you know, we have to go over in my classes, my women's classes, you know, women have so many available options to them now for holstering. And I hear that too. Oh, I just can't keep a gun on my person. I just can't do that. That scares me. And the gun's not going to go off unless you pull the trigger. Okay. So, but we talk about women have corsets. You know, we have these corset gun holsters. We have thigh holsters. We have, you know, belly bands. A lot of women default to the purse carry, which, you know, I'm not a huge advocate, because purses get lost, they get stolen, they get rummaged through. But sometimes, you know, the number one rule of concealed carry is have a gun, right? So if you can't carry it on your person, sure, carry it in your purse, but maybe make it to where it's a crossbody type purse that goes over your neck and it has a specific compartment for your gun, only for your gun. But yeah, confidence is the main thing. And, you know, when women tell me that they're too afraid to carry it on their body, I'm like, well, how about you just wear the holster that you're wanting to use and just wear it around the house, wear it out and about with no gun or anything in it. Just wear the holster, just kind of get used to that. And then when you're ready, maybe put the firearm in the holster empty, unloaded, nothing in it, get used to that. So it's taking those baby steps to just get comfortable. And like you were saying earlier, Michelle, about driving, you know, they don't just hand out driver's licenses and go, here you go. You have to practice driving before you take the test, right? And just like working out, you have to practice every day to get better. So the same holds true with firearms training. And that's the only way you're going to become confident, is to train with a reputable trainer.
With a reputable trainer.
Keyword.
Females in this industry get duped into a lot. We get duped into buying crappy revolvers. We get duped into pink holsters that are cheaply made, and we get duped into training that is just out to take our money. So I think it is important, women like us, female trainers like us, that are legitimately certified and trained and have experience under our belt. I think that, I mean, we're something, right? Good job, ladies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, just being a trainer, as in, I've just started training as of this year, so I'm new, completely new to the industry, to the world of this. But I've been shooting since I was 8. So, I mean, you ladies obviously have more years on me. That's, so I'm listening to what you ladies are saying, and it's like, wow, just the power that you're giving to your students to make them feel so much more confident, and seeing that myself now, with the classes with the students, is just incredible. It's like so empowering. It's just mind blowing of how just a little bit of education and training hands on at that can make a world of difference for somebody that was never in firearms, or let alone wanted to be, is now like, I'm ready to make a purchase. I want to take the next step. How do I protect myself and my family?
And I think too, it just, looking at all of our backgrounds, a music teacher, I mean, I did hair before this. I taught part-time at a community college as well. Stay-at-home mom mostly. And I think that that's what makes us stand out among other trainers, is because if you had a male trainer that said, oh, I've only been doing this 3 years, nobody would want to go to him. But I think there's some strength definitely in being a female trainer and saying, look, I've done this in 3 years. I came from nothing and to this. And if I can do it, you absolutely can too. And that's like, I think that's what's so inspiring, and what gets our classes filled is because we're not Army veterans. We're not
Military.
security people. We are regular females, regular moms. We have regular hobbies, and we just found a knack for this. Holsters, we talked about that a little bit. I loved that. There's a lot of good holster options, and I tell a lot of the ladies in my classes, if you have your CCW and you're not carrying every day, you either need a new gun or a new holster. There's no reason not to.
And I also tell my students, you need to remember that carrying should be a comfort, not necessarily comfortable. So we have to, they go, oh, I don't want a gun between my legs and the thigh holster. I'm like, it's okay. You have to get okay with that. But there are, just a lot of different choices for women. And what's really important is that once they decide on the method that they're going to use, that they practice drawing from whatever method. So that would include dry fire practice with no ammunition in the ring whatsoever, no live ammunition, empty gun, checked and rechecked, but drawing from that corset or drawing from that holster over and over and over, because the main reason people die in altercations is they can't find their gun. They have a gun, but they can't find it, and then it's too late. So, it's great that we have all these abilities and all these different choices, but if we're not practicing dry fire, practicing at home with drawing from that holster, we're not going to find it when we are just taken over by adrenaline.
Absolutely. And some of those really cool specialty holsters, the thigh holster, your bra holsters, those absolutely need a lot of practice to draw from safely, because it doesn't take much to all of a sudden now you're muzzling yourself and you're pointing a gun at yourself. So I agree. And I think that maybe that's another thing that maybe hasn't been said, but you can kind of pick up on as an instructor when you start going into firearms about these are the laws and this, and this, is you kind of see people's eyes glaze over, and then you say that word responsibility, and all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah. I think that maybe that's another thing, is a lot of women shy away from concealed carry because there's a lot of responsibility that goes into it. And when you talk about you need to dry fire practice, you need to do this, you need to do that, and in the back of their mind they're thinking, I've got 4 kids. I run my own business. I do this and that, distance learning, all these other things. I can't dry fire. I can't practice. I can't do this. So how do we get past that? What do you say for that, Carrie?
How to get past dry fire practicing?
How to get past that fear of responsibility as far as being able to carry.
Yeah. Given
I don't think you do. You never let that go to the side. The responsibility is going to be there. So if you're not going to be prepared to, use your gun if you need to, you have to start developing a mindset, right? You have to create a mindset that when you get ready for the day, pants on, gun on, and you think to yourself, and I take this from Tom Gibbons, you think to yourself, I may have to shoot someone today. I may have to shoot someone today. And that should be your mentality. And yes, that's scary. People look at me like, oh my gosh, but it's true. If you're not willing to have that mindset, then don't carry, then don't bother, because you're going to freeze up like most people do. And then you might be dead or horribly injured. But so when you get ready, it's a mindset that you create for yourself, a visualization, visualize all throughout the day, things. What if someone were to come in my door? What would I do? Where's my gun? How would I retrieve it? What if I'm walking around in the store or the mall? Remember when we used to go to the mall? Remember that kind of thing?
No, what's that? What?
But you just have that mindset, because really women that are not willing to carry, they're just basically choosing to accept the risk. I'm willing to take that risk because I
like that.
Or they're mitigating the risk by allowing someone else, such as their husband, to take care of them. They're relying on someone else. So they just are thinking, you know what, I'll risk it. But the crime rate is going up. Even in San Antonio, it's not a 1 in a million chance. It's about a 1 in 22 that you could be involved in some sort of a, crime. So it's not something to take lightly. It's something that we have to take to heart.
It's definitely a responsibility. And I think with anything, if it's important, you'll make time for it. If you want to have the ability to save your life or your children's life, you would make time for it. You make time to put your seatbelt on when you get in the car. You make time to set your alarm in your house before you leave. You make time to do general maintenance on your vehicle so it doesn't break down when you're driving. You make time to lock up your house every night. So you need to make time, 10 to 15 minutes every other day at least, if not every day, and dry fire. It's just, it's a priority. And yeah.
Because as we know, in an altercation, your body kind of shuts down, right? We get tunnel vision, we get auditory exclusion, all kinds of, we lose our dexterity because all the blood is shunted towards our heart. So we don't have that dexterity to maybe operate that safety lever if you have an external safety, or, to operate the trigger properly. So it is that developing that muscle memory, that we're all familiar with that term, developing that muscle memory to be able to, and dry firing, people are like, that's so boring. It's so boring. But I'm telling you, that's how the good shooters, that's how the pro shooters get good. You do that a lot and you're going to go to the live range and you're going to be amazed at your improvement.
Not to mention, nobody's got the extra ammo right now to be going to the range and blasting 100 rounds.
Yep.
Is the ammo shortage as bad in San Antonio?
Yes.
It is. 2020, man.
I know.
What have you heard of? Anything from your end, Shauna, as far as reasons why they decided not to carry, or?
Well, they want to carry. Once they get familiar with the pistol and the firearms that they're wanting, they want to carry. Even talk about it is in California. California areas that I know of that are for not fantastic and wonderful places. I'm in one right now. Michelle, where am I? Because I'm obviously I'm in Northern California today, and
I'm not Southern California anymore. You are in Lincoln, California. So I do my classes out of Solano County. And the range classes that Shauna is taking over for me this weekend is in Lincoln, California. It's more rural. It's a cowboy town. But Similar to Shauna, so I'm between San Francisco. I'm halfway just about between San Francisco and like Lake Tahoe, or not Lake Tahoe, sorry, Sacramento. Lake Tahoe is only like maybe a little bit further up. So yeah, I have like 2 big cities, but the town I'm in is like, it's called Vacaville, and it's Cowtown. Like only maybe in the last 20 years has like the population of people finally outnumbered the population of cows. So it is different. Since it's county per county, our county is very pro 2A. The sheriff we have here, that's who you go through the sheriff's office to get your concealed carry license. I've only heard of one person in the last maybe 8 years that has been denied and they reapplied and got it. But every other county surrounding my county, they don't issue at all. It's bizarre. So you can get your license in your resident county and you are allowed to carry anywhere in California once you have it. Of course, leaving the state is a different story. So I don't know. I think yeah, maybe that goes back to it too, is there's this whole set of laws. That 8-hour, what's your guys' requirements for your license to carry classes? Is it like 8-hour class?
The classroom is about 4 to 6 hours. Well, minimum of 4, maximum of 6-hour classroom, and then that doesn't include the range time. And then it's a shooting proficiency of about 50. Well, it is a 50 rounds.
And is it like the 3, 5, 7 yards, or what?
It's 3, 7, and 15.
3, 7, and 15.
Mm-hmm.
Ours is pretty similar. So it's an 8-hour baseline, 8-hour. It's very, and so I think that's another thing, is a lot of people get discouraged because they don't know that it's county by county. They just assume it's California, so they're not going to get it. So they don't even do the homework for it, or they assume there's all sorts of reasons that I've heard. But I tell you what, if somebody did a concealed carry 8-hour course and offered childcare, who is that?
It's Zoe.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Zoe.
She's a sheepadoodle.
I need her in my life. See, how many guns could Zoe hide on herself? She's
right. A lot.
A lot. Obviously, everybody knows the reasons why we want to carry. I've had people in my classes the last few months that have said, and we're from California, and I'm from a very liberal part of the most liberal state. And I'm having people tell me, you know, I'm 70 years old, I'm 45 years old, I'm 23 years old, and I've never ever thought in my life I'd want a gun, and now here I am. Teach me everything. Tell me how to buy a gun in California. Tell me how to use it. I want to get my CCW. So we all know the reasons why we want to carry now.
Yeah. And women and people will oftentimes pick other methods of self-defense. Maybe, you know, we have the celebrities with their bodyguards, and we have our knives, we have pepper spray. Some people have martial arts. So, you know, you can choose your level of protection that you want. Of course, I always advocate that everyone should carry pepper spray, and I don't want to carry pepper spray, but you know what? If we can use that as a first line of defense in the hierarchy of self-defense, for, shouting a command, stop, get back, that doesn't work. We move up in the hierarchy, right? If we can go to pepper spray and not just think, well, I have a firearm, so I'm just going to resort to that, because as we all know, there's going to be repercussions, criminal, civil liabilities, expenses. So, it is a smart thing to carry pepper spray on your person as well.
I agree. And I think that's something that is shocking for some people in the classes, is that, we're not shooting to kill people. We're shooting to stop the threat. And I think there's this kind of false sense of power people get when they get their concealed carry, where they're like, I'm Batman now. I'm going to go save the world from crime. And
we're not all of a sudden we get our license to carry and now we're vigilantes out to save the world. I mean, for the even more so, the gun owner, the concealed carry owner, needs to be even more situationally aware and more, ready to get out of a situation, to retreat, to escape, to leave a situation. So that's the primary thing, is making people understand part of your training is becoming situationally aware of your surroundings.
That's what situational awareness will save you way more than your gun ever will.
John Farnham is an instructor, and he says, don't do stupid things, don't hang out with stupid people, and don't go to stupid places. And you'll avoid all majority of conflict. So there you go.
Hopefully, but it seems like it's all kind of spilling over now.
It's all stupid.
It's stupid. All of it's stupid. We live in a tiny little town here, and I will tell you, a month or two ago when all of the riots and looting were happening, that was absolutely going on in our little town, and I was like, what, you guys, why?
Wow.
Why? So
I had no idea of that. That's surprising to even think of that. I mean, we had our protesters on a corner, but then we had the mass group that was above the protesters watching them. A little conflict, words exchanged, but that's the max. But then I'm a very country kind of style town. Yeah. So, Carrie, tell me, how do you prefer? I mean, obviously, I know purse is not your guys' direction. I first started carrying, I actually did carry in a purse. It had the long over the crossbody, which made me more comfortable because it was more towards my person. It had its own compartment. It had the two side zippers to where, I could place my hand in whichever direction. I can go within the pocket of your purse, and there's it took me about 2 years to actually decide to buy the purse. And then from there, getting comfortable actually having it, I moved to the corset, and now I actually have the actual, just totally lost my thought of what those are.
like the appendix, the holster.
Yeah, thank you.
The Kydex, maybe the Kydex.
Yeah, so I have a few different brands. So and rod, I mean, the first one I bought, I really do enjoy, and I still use it often, is my Raw Dog one. And it's a leather interior to where it's against your skin on the inside, and then it's a clip, so it's an in pants holster or in waistband holster. And I'm more favoritism to that now. And I'm trying to do different ones just so I can have the experience to be able to offer it to, other ladies that are interested in it as well. I do know that men tell me the ankle's really nice. But I'm like, that varies, I guess.
The ankle's great if you're sitting down, but if you're having to run away from someone, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yep.
I can't balance on one foot to put a sock on, so I'm not even going to try and do it to draw a gun.
So here's the deal. So it's going to depend on your wardrobe preferences and how you dress. For me, it's not always possible to keep it on my person concealed because I don't wear a lot of really baggy stuff. I mean, I just don't. So I would say a lot of times I do have to keep it in a purse, or my favorite one as of late is called Sneaky Pete. I don't know if y'all have heard of that, Sneaky Pete. Maybe I can get it for you in a minute. But anyway, it's got a magnetic closure, so it goes over your waistband, but it's just a little box, a little leather box, and it looks like those, PDA or whatever they are, like for your phone or whatever. And you can also get them with that looks like a medical kit. So it looks like maybe it's a medical kit, but it just goes over your waistband.
Okay.
And I love that because I don't have to put anything inside my pants, and I do wear appendix if I'm wearing, baggy shirt or whatever, or corset, but yeah, I would say that's probably my biggest go-to is the Sneaky Pete.
Look at it. See that?
Yeah, they're just, when I saw it, it was just like, wow, this is interesting, because it kind of reminds me back in the day when we had pagers, and then if you didn't have a pager, you use your garage door opener. So
nobody knows it's a holster unless they know what a Sneaky Pete is, or they know I'm a firearms instructor. But yeah, so that's my favorite.
It's still concealed.
It's technically still concealed. So summer versus winter, do you switch up your guns? I mean, you're in Texas, so I don't know what seasons.
It's just hot here all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, I know we as women change up our concealment options with our outfits. Do you tend to change up your guns and your holsters with the seasons, or do you always use the same holster, always use the same gun?
I always use the same holster and I always use the same gun. I carry the 6 Hour P365. If I'm going somewhere and I need a smaller gun, maybe it's my SIG 238, the 380. But we've been drilled about 9mm versus 380. I feel guilty if I carry a 380. There's not enough stopping power. But again, have a gun versus no gun. So those are my two main carry pistols. But no, I don't change.
License works there. So once you get a license, you can carry whatever gun concealed, or?
Yes.
Lucky. Ours is 3. We are only allowed 3. And if we get in big trouble if we carry a firearm that's not on our.
What do you mean 3? 3 what?
We're only allowed 3 firearms on our permit, and those are the only 3 that we're allowed to carry concealed.
But you wouldn't carry all 3 guns on your person at one time.
Oh, absolutely, I have.
You do?
You are totally within your rights to do that, and I've done it.
It seems heavy. Weigh me down.
Got to get creative with your holsters.
Yes, that sounds like it. But oh, my husband's bringing me the Sneaky Pete. So this is what mine looks like. It's just black.
Oh, that's nice.
And then your gun just goes right in that little shelf.
That's pretty.
Right there.
Oh, this looks like a fashion, like a fashion purse.
Not the, I don't want to say fanny packs because those are not cute.
They're back in style.
But they're basically like fanny packs, right? Like all the top name brand like stylists are making these like belt things like that now. I don't.
Here's the deal. I need for Gucci or Louis Vuitton to listen to this. Okay, I need a Sneaky Pete with Gucci or Louis Vuitton. Not that I'm a name person, kind of, sort of, but I think that would be super awesome.
Can you maybe send that to like a engraver? I know like a lot of a lot of laser engraving places will do leather.
I don't know, maybe.
I'm gonna look into this for you.
Yeah, let me know.
Dude, I feel like could do that for you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'm actually really happy you have one, because I put it on the back burner, kind of like check it out later another time, and you actually have one. And so is that one of your real go-to kind of carriers?
Yes, that's the one that I go to the most, because again, it doesn't have to go inside the pants, and it's just easy.
Man, that sounds.
How does it work if it's a magnet? I mean, we talk about retention with holsters. What's the retention with that then? If it's upside down, the gun's not gonna fall out of that?
No, it's magnet, and then it's got the clips on the back that go over your belt or your pants.
So it's essentially like an outer waistband holster, but it's concealed outer waistband holster.
Yes.
Interesting.
I like that.
Interesting. Very interesting.
More things to buy, Michelle. More things.
Yeah, I am stuck. I have my Glock 43 and I have here's our plug for our podcast sponsor, my Glock 43 and my Grayman Solutions holster. And that is my go-to pretty much every day. And again, if I do need something smaller, Glock 43 is pretty small, but if I do need something smaller, I'll do my 238. I call it my church carry gun because I can put it in my thigh holster. But I've had all sorts of firearms because we are only allowed 3, so I'll rotate them out. But I've had my Glock 19 on there, which is almost a full-size firearm, and I've concealed it just fine. I've had my Kimber Ultra Carry, which is a 45, subcompact 45, but it's still a 1911. I've had that on there and I've concealed it just fine. So my go-to is usually appendix carry in some sort of Kydex holster. That being said, in the summer, because it gets really hot here, I love my thigh holsters and I love my belly bands. Those are really good for me for hiking and getting out and being able to be hands-free and chase my kids and all sorts of stuff.
you know, Michelle, you mentioned that you're only allowed to have somebody on your roster to actually list for your CCW. I understand that exactly. I believe Tulare County is, I believe, only allowed to have 5. But when I got to Kern County, this is going to blow your mind. 10. 10. You can put 10 on your list.
I would fill that up and then I would find a way to wear all 10 at once just to do it.
It's pretty exciting because it's one of those moments of like, well, you can still carry on your person and you can still have it within your vehicle locked in your safe. So let's say, you know, it's certain different directions of protection. So yes, you have your person, you know, your firearm on your person, but then you can also have it within your secondary or your third one that you want within your vehicle. So now you're, you know, you have these extra places to go to because you never know the situation you're going to become or be in by the time you need to draw your pistol. And I think if they can start realizing is the news is given one type of information, where if they actually just come to a class or ask somebody that was in a class previously that was not a firearm person and now they are, I think that might open up more women to the mindset of carrying, you know, file for that CCW, go do it. I think it's the best thing they can do. It is a very loud voice to show the county and the state how many women really are interested in trying to be safe and protect themselves, because obviously somewhere else they're not listening to this because of the crime we're having.
Right. But again, getting that training first, because, you know, I tell my license to carry students, I'm like, this is not a learn to shoot class. If you don't know how to shoot and you don't know how to clear your own malfunctions, you should not be here. And I've had people leave because I'm like, I don't have time to teach you how to shoot. You should already know that before you come here. And I give them plenty of advance notice, emails, whatnot. But you still get people show up. Oh, well, I've never shot before. And I'm like, you shouldn't be here. But go ahead and try. Good luck.
Yep. I tell my students in my intro class, I'm like, don't even think about buying a holster. Like you guys are so far, like your skills are so far from needing a holster right now. Work on your firearm handling first, because drawing from a holster and those skills are only going to come once these other fundamentals are solid. You're not going to feel comfortable drawing from a holster if you can't comfortably handle your firearm regardless. So you need to start building up these skills and getting there. We're close on time. So what was our video that we're going to, Shauna, you've probably already seen this, Carrie, the lady in Oregon with the arson.
So there is a story that I posted on Facebook, and it is pretty intense on the matter of this lady is walking her property, and out of nowhere she sees a gentleman on her property and ends up finding out that he actually has matches that he's trying to actually start a fire. Well, the thing is from what I've read in the story is that she's out armed, ready to protect herself and her property, and ends up holding this gentleman at gunpoint until the actual police department got there to take him and arrest him, which is bravo for her to be able to stand her ground, protect her property, and let the actual, you know, law enforcement that has been sworn in to protect the community. And, you know, okay, so yes, state of California, criminals are protected. And it's a constant battle against us that are good citizens, you know. But us good citizens need to now take that step and start protecting ourselves more as we, you know, get into the concealed carry part. And for her, you know, being in Oregon, obviously they have different guidelines and different situations there. And she executed in the matter of, you know, holding this person on the ground within the fact of, hey, I have a firearm, don't do anything. I don't want to take the next step if I have to. Police are on their way. No one was hurt. But now she was able to prevent more fires, as our entire West Coast, you know, from Canada to Mexico is on fire.
Yeah.
But then again, that happened back in 2007 and 6 and every year since then. So I just feel for everybody that's becoming hurt from this whole situation. It's horrible.
So what are I know my thoughts on that, but I'm just wondering your thoughts, Carrie, on this lady who's out patrolling the streets, stops the dude at gunpoint. She didn't even see the matches at first. She's, I think, walked by, if I read the story correctly, walked by, what are you doing? And then noticed the matches and was like, what are you doing at the matches? He said, oh, I'm a smoker. And for whatever reason, her intuition vibe was off. But yeah, got out of the car, had gun pointed at this dude and had him on the street. So what are your thoughts on that?
So it wasn't on her property?
My reading was that it was just on a highway, on like
I don't,
a two-lane.
I don't know what Oregon's laws are as far as use of force or deadly force. You know, in Texas, if you bring your gun out and don't even fire it, but you just have it out, it's considered deadly force, that you are showing that you have a gun. Now, but you have to be able to justify that, right? You have to say, I brought my gun out because I was in fear for my life. So I don't know what Oregon's laws are. If, you know, what else could she have done? Could she have just called 911 instead of getting out of her car and not knowing what this guy's capable of?
Right.
And called 911 and said, hey, there's a guy setting fires. Maybe park further down the road, keep an eye on it until they show up. I probably would have voted for that as a first course of action.
Well, I know that you're certified. I've certified through USCCA too, and something they push a lot in their instructor courses is emphasizing be a good witness. And I think that would have been a great opportunity to be a good witness. I agree with you on that, Carrie. I have no idea what this dude is capable of. Obviously, he's suspect enough walking around that would cause this person to pull over and ask questions anyways.
So I don't know if she would, you know, was charged with anything for bringing out her gun or what, because she wasn't in fear for her life at that moment. She was just saying, by God, I'm going to go and take care of this jerk. And that's not the mentality that you need to have.
No, I know Shauna and I talked about it a little bit, but I know if something like that happened in California, if Shauna drew a gun on a dude that looked suspect in the street, like she would be in jail for that. It didn't matter if the guy was actually lighting fires or not.
So what I'm reviewing on the story is that she was pulling into her driveway. So now from just looking at the image that they have that they posted on the article, shows kind of like backcountry. And, you know, with everything already they have going on with their fires and the riots and stuff, I mean.
Yeah, and you know, and being out the middle of nowhere, okay, so she calls 911 or fire, and how long is it going to take them to reach her?
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's already, so again, it depends on the situation, right? If she feels like this guy's going to set up a fire and she knows the police aren't going to be there for 20 minutes because of how far away she is, I don't know. Maybe she's justified in that sense. You know, I don't know. I don't know what their laws
I know there's more to the story that we don't have. I'm just going off, you know, we have the clip.
Somebody
of just the story.
Well, about, well, why don't you just put the fire out then? Why don't you just follow him and put the fire out? Those are the same people that say, well, if you're going to shoot somebody for robbing you, then you value things more than life. And it's like, does the guy deserve to get shot for starting a fire?
You know, and Texas is really lenient on, I mean, it's pretty, you know, it's a very lenient state as far as that. But I tell my students, I'm like, you know, let's remember what you can do, okay, and what you should do or must do are not the same thing. Mm-hmm. So you may be able to do this, but should you or must you? You have to keep that in mind.
And it all goes back to the legal ramification. I haven't heard any updates on that story. I mean, if the guy did start fires or anything, but I'm positive something's going to come back on this lady that did it. And I mean, I hope it was an arsonist, and I hope that he is behind bars, and I hope she did do something good. Maybe she could have done it a different way, but I just don't see there's other ways that she could have done it that wouldn't have put herself in such danger. I mean, who knew if that guy was armed? Who knew if he was alone? You know, all of a sudden now you're out on the car in the middle of nowhere, far away from help, and it could have been 3 against 1. Before we are out of time, Carrie, your opinion. spare mag, one in the chamber.
Well, I don't know very many license to carry holders that carry extra magazines on their person. That's why I always tell my students to opt for a gun that will hold 10 or more rounds, because we don't know how many rounds it's going to take to stop the threat, right? It could be upwards of 9. I mean, oftentimes we don't even remember how many shots were fired and so we have to remember, if they're crazy or they're on drugs or alcohol, they're not going to care if you hit them. They're going to keep coming at you. All right. So I personally don't carry an extra mag on me because I carry a pretty high round capacity. As far as a round in the chamber, yes, keep a round in the chamber unless you get really proficient at learning to rack the slide on your leg, because if you don't have use of your other hand, we've seen it in surveillance videos where they can't rack the slide in time, and they go down because they can't. Again, we lose the dexterity, we lose the control of our hands in an altercation such as that, a violent encounter. So I'm of the mindset, yes, you need to have one in the chamber because you may not be able to use your other hand.
Yeah. Well, Crystal will be happy. She'll agree with you on both those things. I had to ask that for her behalf.
Okay.
Anything else, Shauna, from you?
Well, I just honestly saw this story. I want to share it with you ladies and everybody else.
I can give you the screen. Hang on.
Actually, you're good. Let me just read it to you guys because it's heartbreaking. It makes me want to, I'm really sad for this. So, a husband has begged a carjacker not to hurt his pregnant wife. Now, the wife being shot, so pregnant wife, before being shot in the head and killed. So the carjacker is being begged by the husband not to hurt the wife because she's pregnant. Turns around and shoots the husband in the head, point blank, kills him, and then forces the wife on a wild goose chase with her in the car at gunpoint. I don't know how much more. Now, this isn't even more, kind of like takes me back a little bit because this occurred in Tennessee on Sunday on their way to church. I just, I don't understand how society is turning this way. But then again, I can see how it actually did come about this. Eventually, it looks like that they did end up in an accident. And he was actually arrested. So,
But he shot the pregnant wife or just her husband?
No, he shot the husband.
But the wife was
okay. The husband, and then took the wife as a hostage.
Oh.
His motive, like what? Just to watch the world burn, or was he trying to steal the car? Was he on drugs?
He was trying to carjack it. What his intent to carjack wise, as in, did he just feel like he wanted to do it? That has been said before. I've heard people say that. Was there a reason he was trying to leave the area? Very could be. I mean, obviously he had no remorse of taking a life because that means he's already done it with something else or somebody else. That's the extent of it. And it goes into a whole nother, level, and it's disgusting. It's sad. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore.
We had talked about, Carrie had mentioned that escalation of force, and it starts with situational awareness, and then it goes with commands, and then it might be pepper spray, then it might be a knife, and then it's finally your firearm. Mm-hmm. Just a friendly reminder for anybody who may be listening, like anything's a weapon at that point. Look around in your vehicle. If you have a firearm on you, what do you have that you can stop the situation, stop the attack with? You have your car. You have your whole vehicle with you. So that's tragic and horrible.
Yeah, unborn child's never gonna, meet their father, So that gentleman there that they claim, these people, I guess these
the taxpayers get to pay for this dude to live in prison comfortably with 3 meals a day for the rest of his life.
No, unless Tennessee has the death penalty as Texas does, because praise Texas, they do have the death penalty still. Pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think are good on time. I don't have anything else Shauna or Carrie, if you do, thank you very much for joining us, Carrie. I really appreciate it. And I know all the Mama Bear team does, so.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me, and it was really great to meet you girls and to get to discuss some of these things.
And then just a quick, before we head out, can you just give us your Instagram and website one more time for the listeners?
It is license2carry.com, and it's license, like the regular word license, with the number 2, and carry is spelled Kari. So license2carry.com, and that's the same as it is on Instagram. I just got lucky that my name was Carrie, and I went in this business. So you understand, that's what I was saying. Everything happens for a reason.
I've been following you on my business and my personal page for a while, and I've always loved your name. I just thought it was super clever, and I was like, dang, she must just be into guns her whole life for that. Nope.
Nope.
Well,
Love
thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you.